Good afternoon, lovely people out there. We are back in our office and we have an amazing gentleman with us who is a creative but also a very funny guy that makes people laugh, makes people comfortable in the way how they look and present themselves. And that's also very important because Div Maritz is a photographer.
And an amazing photographer.
Exactly, an amazing photographer that we met first time in the garden route, and we were very happy about this. So welcome, Div. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for those kind words. You guys always know how to make a man blush. What I can say is always try my best.
And I just said a few sentences. So no, yeah. I mean, I really, and I think like I've seen your work, but I think the most striking part, apart from your professionalism, is your character and your personality. And I think that's quite winning. And I think that is also what makes a lot of people comfortable with working with you. And that's not sugarcoating anything. That's really just also the way how we feel.
Yeah, and I feel like personally, maybe when I can add that, you always have this very special attitude as a colleague. You know, you credit people, you refer people, and this is something not like always common, but absolutely appreciated. Just want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I mean, one of the things that I've always tried to do, specifically in this industry, is, you know, I've got a big and a long background of working with people in my life. And, you know, that human connection is one of the most important things. And kind of coming from a fashion and modeling background when I was a youngster, there was a lack of connection with the photographers and sometimes directors that I was working with. And, you know, the job would always go so much more easier if they just lightened up the situation a bit more and made people laugh. And that was something that I always promised myself that I would do working with people. And, you know, if a person's comfortable with you, specifically in your personal space, and if you're on your special day, which is even more important, you know, it's meant to be fun and people have to smile. And when people have let their guard down, you know, you get the best out of them. They just totally relax. And of course, having two pros like you make it a hell of a lot easier for me to work as well. So it's a good compliment.
Thank you very much. I don't want to start with the now because the now is obviously very complex, but I wanted to start, and you just touched a little bit on it. I wanted to start off like on the journey of Div. Like, how did your journey, maybe even as a photographer, like start? Like, how did you get where you are right now? Was it a passion all along? Did you just like stumbled into it? And why now maybe like where you are located, and what is maybe also your reference to the garden route, because obviously we are like situated in the garden route. We love this place a lot. We really always want to be ambassadors for the garden route and show people like what beauty they can find here. So what is your relation to the garden route, and first of all, like how did it all start as you being a photographer?
Well, you know, thankfully, I was born and bred in the garden route, so that place holds a very special place in my heart. You know, growing up in the area of George and Wilderness and Vic Bay and Nature's Valley and Plet and all those places, I was very fortunate to have experienced that growing up. So, I mean, it's never been a very tough question or request for me to go down there. In fact, the minute the person inquires that they want to do a wedding down there, I'm already halfway down there in my car. So, I mean, that's never really been a problem. So, but in terms of how I got into the photography is, you know, as I said, I touched with modeling and in acting when I was a youngster, and I was always very intrigued and interested in being on the other side of the camera. And you know, just through the years, I just had a lot of contacts of mine and friends that worked in the production industry, and that were professional photographers and international photographers and videographers, as well as directors and so forth. That kind of sparked my interest in the industry, and I always wanted to give it a go. And then the way I pretty much got into wedding industry was through a good friend of mine that actually showed me some of the ropes, Shanna Jones, which I got to work with, and she showed me some stuff which was awesome. And then, of course, my partner Lisa Bailey, who's been in the production and film industry for many years, and then, of course, having my friends who were photographers at the time to fall back on, it just kind of snowballed from there. And before I knew it, I was getting commissions and getting jobs, and I was really enjoying it. And I was enjoying the fact that I could travel around the world and to some beautiful places around South Africa. And of course, get to meet people like yourselves and some other wonderful, talented artists in the area. So it's been a fantastic ride, and I hope it continues.
It's amazing. Tell us, we had like a couple photographers on our one particular, and this like was very striking actually to me, and maybe you can say something generally about the South African photography industry, maybe not only particularly for weddings, but just how you feel like as being a member of that industry. She said when she came from abroad, she was South African, when she came from abroad back to South Africa, she felt it was very clicky, and it was very hard for her to actually like come back and like sort of like she felt like she's a foreigner in her own country. Like how is the photography scene like generally like seen by you like in South Africa, also maybe not only on the personal level but compared to like other African countries, if you can maybe even say this. So how do you see the photography scene in South Africa?
Yeah, the photography scene is, in my humble opinion, is quite a diluted scene, because of course you get so many genres and so many talented photographers out there, and that's to become part of it and actually get people to help you out and to show you the ropes is extremely difficult. They're not too open to giving away information and helping each other rise. And my thought was, if you can help another person, the good will always return. So it was always trying to find people that were willing to help and willing to grow. I have met some fantastic photographers and artists out there. But then on the other hand, I've met where it's a tough industry, and to get to the top, they're not willing to share their contacts, and they're not willing to share their secrets to success, which is fair. It takes a long time to get there, and it's a hell of an investment to make with your gear and so forth and your contacts. But I've always found, if you give some love and you give some positive feedback and information to people, you always get it back, and it has helped me so far. And that's been one of the things that I really, really try hard to stay with is and be true to is to be a good person first and foremost, and just make the people happy, because that lasts and it gets me far. It has got me far so far, and I hope to continue doing that.
What comes just up to my mind, I remember, knowing the photography industry, just like because we are touching the industry like in our business, but I hear quite often also there is like courses for photography where even like people like photographers from abroad coming. Do you see there is a need of that, or do you say we still have more to offer maybe to young photographer, to people they enter the industry?
The one thing as a photographer is you never stop learning ever. There's always something that's going to humble you, and there's always going to be something that really frightens the living bejesus out of you on the shoot. But those, as any other application, you just need to go out there and do it, and you learn from it all the time. I'm constantly learning from other photographers, and if I have the chance and sometimes the means and time and the money to do these extra courses, I jump at it at any go. It's definitely always a recommendation, and if I could recommend it to any photographer to expand his knowledge and go out there and try and do as much as he can to increase his repertoire and his skills, I would say by all means, and you can never stop improving as a photographer, because you're constantly learning, and it's a learning curve no matter how long you've been doing it. And I haven't met a photographer to this day that won't tell you that, because it's just the art that it just continues growing, and the technological side of it just keeps on growing all the time. So we're constantly learning. So it's a challenge, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much, because there's always something that I can try and puzzle out and try and work out and try and fall back onto others. And I've been very thankful to have had some talented photographers and friends that I work around with that have helped me along the way, and I'm not afraid to say it. So yeah, I would definitely say if they can get any means or any help or any advice from anyone, take it and be thankful for it.
Yeah. And I always say, like, you know, if you consider yourself a candle and like you light other people's like way, it's not gonna take away from your own light. And I think this is particularly true to like creative people because, and again, like your style of photography will never be the same as someone else. Maybe you can like copy sort of techniques, but the way how you handle clients, the way like how you see details, the way how like your images will come out, if there is the same model, will completely different if I'm doing it or someone else just standing beside you do it. And I think this is also like what people shouldn't be afraid of, like initially, like in any like creative field, like we sell like personality before we sell a product or a service. And that's why also I announced you the way I did, because I think like you have a great personality, a very likable personality for people to be very comfortable with and at ease at a very short period of time. And particularly for weddings, when we're talking about weddings, this is very important because you are like in front or with a lot of like those clients for the longest time of the day. Like they
Very intimate
like you
moment.
accompany them longer than like family members for most of the time, because you do the couple shoots like prior also to the wedding. You will be there in the most intimate moments, and if you don't have like a certain vibe with those clients, the pictures will not be the same as if you are comfortable with your photographer. Don't you see it like that as well?
Yes, no. One of the things is I try and pick up on the personality of the bride and the bridal couple, you know, as soon as possible. That kind of helps me out in terms of how I'm going to shoot and what boundaries I can kind of push, if you can say that, with the bridal couple. But I it's been quite amazing is that I've had almost the same set or same type of personality. I would have no idea why. That's kind of always requested me as a photographer. So. And I know that you're in their space, and you're in their space at quite a stressful and exciting time at the same time. So I know that there's certain things that I need to be careful of, and I try and comfort when I can, because the minute they're comfortable having you around their space, you know, they let their hair down. And the pre-meetings we have when we meet the couple before the day even arrives, I make sure that I spend enough time with them and I chat to them and I make them laugh, and we have a drink and have a bit of a relaxing time, because they must be comfortable with me as much as they must be comfortable with the makeup artist and the hair artist. So it's very important that we do that. And, you know, when it comes down to picture selection, as you say, you know, each person has their own type of eye or look or style, which is unique. And I've just been fortunate enough for people to like my style, which I thank the Lord for. And I can only hope that they keep on liking it. But I mean, the personal relationships and dealing with people has always been a strong point of mine. And I enjoy being with people. So it's come easy to me. And
I also feel like maybe something that you, or how you grew up. I always feel like your pictures are very natural, like so like the garden route, you know. I would maybe say like that, you know. It's not overdone or is pure. I think maybe that's the right wording, and I like that, and I think a lot of people like that.
Well, I thank you. You know, there's one of the things that I enjoy capturing. I don't enjoy really setting up a lot of shots, even though on the day sometimes you have to do it. But what I enjoy is capturing human emotion and reaction, and the small little things you don't really see happening at a wedding, which tell the best story. So when I shoot with them, I kind of always just let them be and let them enjoy the situation. I kind of give them direction in terms of what they should do and where we're going to go and shoot after I've done my recce. But we try and almost be a fly on the wall, and the way I shoot and the gear I use just kind of complements that. So I'm not in their faces all the time, and I like to be out of sight if I can. I'm a relatively big guy, so being out of sight is quite difficult at times. But I do enjoy shooting that style, and it must flow and it must be natural. There's nothing I can't take in a overly posed wedding photograph. To me, it's the most horrible looking thing on planet Earth.
Yeah.
What was the most like thing you photographed that you say that was either very unique or very special or very, I don't know, odd, or I don't know how to say. Sometimes you get like to a situation that you sometimes even don't realize at the moment, but when you see the picture you say, oh my God, what is this,
That
like
was really a shot.
yeah,
Like, wow.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we take so many photographs on the day. You know, through the years, I've kind of got used to shooting a certain amount of images and being in the right place. You know, I kind of preempt where I need to be, and I kind of know where the situation and emotions are going to flow with the bridal couple and family and friends alike. So it's all about that pre-planning and getting to the right spot, so I can be in that place to get those moments. And you know, we take, you know, between 3 and 4, sometimes 5,000 images on a day. So you know, we scroll through that, and sometimes the setup that I thought I was going to get a beautiful photograph on doesn't come through, but then I find something else in the massive lump of photographs we have. So it's all about having an eye, because you'll definitely find something, and it's always around you all the time. It's non-stop, because it's not only is the bridal couple and them having a fantastic time, but the family and friends are having a fantastic time. And there's always a little kid, you know, running around there that's in a total different world altogether, which is always interesting. And of course, when we shoot with the two of you, we're always shooting in beautiful places. And of course, the decor and the landscaping is just, you know, it speaks for itself, which makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
Mm. Can I ask you your first paid job? Like, I mean, when you came from a different side of the camera, how
Yeah.
did you feel about your first paid job? And like, what do you remember most maybe about that couple or that moment, or maybe the fear of maybe not capturing the right like moment? Because I think also, I mean, like, it's obviously beautiful to look at those like amazing images, but as much as everyone that is part of a wedding has certain pressures, like the florist to get the flowers done in time before the bride walks down the aisle, the kitchen to make sure that the food is right at the same, like at the right time, but the photographer, and that's mostly like obviously at the ceremony, because I mean, saying yes and that moment and the kiss and exchanging the rings and all of that, like how did you cope with that pressure, or was that just off, or like just tell us a little bit about your first paid job.
The first time that I actually got commissioned, I had done a lot of you know, apprentice work before the time, so I was kind of used to being and watching the pros do it and how they would handle it. Um, and you know, the work I was doing prior to that had me working around a lot of people in sometimes high pressure situations, so that didn't quite freak me out as much as believing that someone was actually willing to pay me to take the, you know, photographs of them. That's so, and I still feel this to this day. I always sometimes pinch myself, finding myself on the other side of the camera, and now I'm taking images, and people like what I'm taking. It's still a surreal moment for me, and it's quite an awesome thing to experience, and I'm happy that they're always happy. Thankfully for that. And it's all I can say is I still can't believe it, and it's always a treat when I get a job or get commissioned to do it, because it's something that I love doing, and it's fun, and I suppose you can't find a better way to do things when it's fun, and you know, it's better than sitting in the office the whole day, put it that way.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe let's jump a little bit into the now, or like the time that we experience right now. Obviously, for the people in South Africa, it's coming a point right now where it's really, really getting difficult after 5 months of lockdown. And I mean, for people from outside, we are just like in stage 2 out of 5, where like events have been permitted since a week for up to 50 guests, but we have a curfew lock, which obviously limits a lot of the events possible. I mean, obviously, people who want to get married, they will do it. They could also just with 2 witnesses. Now maybe it's more daytime celebration, but I think because we just started, it will still take time for people to actually get their head around things and the situation that they're in now. As a photographer, like how did you cope with? Was there or is there any other side projects or things that you could do, some things that you maybe never had time to do, to focus on right now? Like, how did you feel the last like 4 or 5 months, and how did you like cope?
It was, you know, when it first started, no one kind of knew how long it was going to last. And you know, I'm sure, you know, the three of us had some weddings that already booked between us, and I had other various weddings that had to be postponed and moved. And you know, it was quite a nerve-wracking thing to do,
Yeah.
because you know, that's your income. And so the best thing then was we could only just damage, to try and control the damage as much as possible, and try and work with the brides and trying to find another a date to be shot, which is difficult when you don't know when you're allowed to be shooting that. You know, but going forward, it was extremely tough, because I was coming off the back of quite a busy and a successful summer season with the weddings, and all of a sudden, you know, literally in a week's time, all industry closes and shuts, and with no answers or no advice of where we can go and what to do. And that included international weddings as well. So it was a logistical nightmare at the time, and a frightening aspect as well. You know, you don't know how the bridal couple and our guests and our clients are going to react. But thankfully that passed relatively well, and we could sort out most of the issues with my bridal couple. And you know, I do a lot of weddings, but at the same time, with my photography, I do a lot of commercial work as well. So I've been doing a lot of work with advertising agencies for content creation. I've been shooting some stuff for pack shots and still shots for alcohol companies, and we've been doing a lot of work for architects and developers up and around the Garden Route in the Western Cape, as well as local companies over here, which we've been doing commercial work for, which has thankfully been keeping some good money coming in. And it's something that I do when I'm during the week when I'm not on the weddings, and that kind of picked up again. And thankfully, I had some money saved underneath my mattress that could get me through the couple of months. But I'm happy to see that the industry is slowly but surely starting to come alive again. You know, you might not get your massive weddings of 100, 300, 500 people, but you're getting your smaller boutique weddings, which are just as beautiful. You can still have it at beautiful locations. You can still have it your dream wedding. You're just going to have you know, less people, and for some people, they're quite happy at the intimate wedding, and the actual service around the day stays exactly the same. Be it a big wedding, a small wedding, you're still going to go through the same trials and tribulations, and the joy and having a beautiful day. So it's all about how we bring that service across and that experience across to clients now, and make sure that they realize that they're still going to have a fantastic day, and the service is not going to change, and it's there to be had now. And thankfully in level 2 we can start doing that, and hopefully level 1 will come rolling along pretty soon. And so it's all about getting those clients back again now, and making them smile, and hoping that they want to get married before the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think the people who will decide, like, maybe to change their plans and to get married now at this time, and I mean, we have to exclude international travelers still, because there's no regulations for international travel. But for the people in South Africa, I think you will see on the pictures much more love, much more joy, much more happiness, much more appreciation, much more like simplicity, also in the way that they appreciate. People generally will appreciate the small things in life that make life actually so special, that maybe we have overlooked because we were just so caught up in like everything around us. But I think like also this time has shown us what really like the important things in life are, and I think it will reflect particularly in the pictures, and particularly now. And I mean, like, humans forget like very fast, but I think like generally like the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you will see like much more joy when the people are like gathering for the first time after lockdown again, and hugging, and like whatever is possible. I think will reflect immensely in the pictures that that you can take.
Yeah,
for sure. Another thing that I have noticed now particularly is that we have started to get requests for weddings in smaller venues, in venues that are absolutely mine and breathtakingly beautiful. that couldn't take large numbers that are now coming up and saying, I tell you what, we open for business, come take a look at our venue. And there are some really stunning places out there. I mean, I'm sure you guys, and I've been following your feed, you guys have been visiting a couple of places, you know, and those guys are now starting to put their hands up, and they can do just as good job as the big wine farms and the big venues. So, I mean, and it's nice to go out there, and you know, there's been a big upturn in these destination weddings in and around South Africa, that are going to these little places, you know, be it between the Cederberg mountain range or in the Karoo or in the Knysna forest somewhere, that is absolutely breathtaking. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the wedding and the decor and the venue is 100% important, but you know, the photographs are generally of the bridal couple. So as long as they're happy, they're the kingpins, then they can pretty much achieve anything. And I suppose that's who we have to make them smile. And I also think at the same time, they might be very happy that they didn't have to pay for extra 100 people, which I think would make anyone happy. But that said, you know, it's everyone can choose what they like, I suppose.
Yeah, but I mean, even we as European, we like when we came first to South Africa, we have been surprised on the number of people celebrating on a wedding. I mean, like usually in Europe, or let's say in Germany, but also in Europe, you celebrate like between 30 to 80 people. That's actually an average. Very rarely
there's more, but like it's more family orientated, not so much like extended as here. But you find
you have to be a very big family to come over 100, right? So that's actually something that we enjoy when a wedding is actually more intimate, because also for the couple themselves, it's much easier to communicate with their people.
Just say, like, maybe because I asked you for a specific reason, because obviously like we like your pictures, and you have recommended like a wedding like to us as well. And I mean, I think the couple is even watching, because I've mentioned that like we're gonna have a chat. But for everyone like me who is considering South Africa as a destination for a future wedding, not this year, like maybe not next year, but maybe some like time down the line,
in the next century,
not that far away. Like from your, I mean, you have traveled a lot, like, and if I would ask you as a South African like photographer ambassador, and you would have to tell like clients like from abroad why they would have to come to South Africa to celebrate their wedding, what would you say? Like, why South Africa amongst all the places in the world?
Yeah, the country we stay in is quite a diverse country, and it's not that big to get around. So you could literally be in 11 different geographical settings within a space of a day. And you know, you just can't get that. As beautiful as Europe is, and the States, and even in the East, you kind of find it's either vast distances in the States, or it's much of the muchness, which is beautiful in Europe, or it is, you know, a very kind of similar setting in the East. Whereas in South Africa, we've got it all. The people are extremely friendly. They want to meet you. They want to help you. We have talented vendors here, and artists. You know, if you're coming from a foreign destination, we can't count out the currency exchange rate. It just makes things actually laughable at what they can afford here, and the quality they can get for that. You know, for the same quality overseas, you'll be looking to pay a vast amount of money. And you know, dealing with agencies, wedding agencies in Europe, you know, I know what they pay over there. So it's never a difficult situation to come here. And once they're here, it's one of the most beautiful destinations for family and friends alike to enjoy. I mean, Cape Town, Garden Route, Eastern Cape, KZN. I could chat for days and days for it. It wins hands down.
Please carry on.
And it's a winning destination. And of course, our wine farms are stunning. You know, our Karoo setting and is breathtaking. We have the beaches and the forests that make most places look like outback sheds. You know, we really are blessed. And you know, I'm being quite biased because I come from this country, and I've us been very fortunate to have traveled to a number of destinations around the world. And I can honestly say, hands down, that every weekend when I get a different wedding in a different location, it's never the same. And each time it blows my mind away, and it takes my breath away, really, to how beautiful some of these places are. And I just, you know, sometimes wish I had more money and more time to travel and see these places. So please, guys, if you listen to me out there, book me so we can get to different places.
Yeah. No, and I think like we always say, like South Africa, like is like the world in one country. You know, you have so much. You have the beaches, the forest, the like the Karoo, like sort of a like semi-desert area, the desert area, like everything. And I think that what makes it really, really special for a lot of people. And we really want like to put South Africa generally like on the map. And I think also the country needs it. Once international travel is possible again, a lot of people in the hospitality industry, tourism, I mean, events, like we all need those people to have trust in our services and to know that they are reliable suppliers, they are high-end suppliers that can pull off amazing events and make like memories of a lifetime. And I think that is something that we want to promote in the time right now, when people are considering South Africa, to say, you know, we are here like as an industry to welcome you with open arms. And I think that is very, very important.
Well, there has been some promising signs and some promising talk in the Cape Town and tourism industry. I know Cape Town has been awarded a massive international prize now as one of the top destinations to visit again, which is a massive for us. And that's just been awarded to us yesterday. There's you know, the service providers that I've worked with have been nothing but extremely professional and some of the best that I've ever worked with. And you know, for me to be able to work with providers like that pushes my name forward, and I always try and surround myself with the best of my abilities. So it definitely helps. And I have worked with providers from in Europe and across the seas in different directions, and there's absolutely no difference from the talent they have over there to what we have over here. You know, I actually find that our South African service providers, they actually work a little bit more and work a little harder because they appreciate the work a little bit more. And that's something that I have noticed. And you know, I'm positive and that travel will be up before the end of the year. And South Africa relies heavily on our tourism for our GDP and for our work. And our tourism is a massive factor of employment, and it can't stay closed forever. And there's definitely shakes and movers that are now trying to get that travel back into South Africa. And the promising thing is that I've started receiving requests from overseas clients to come down next year. So, you know, it's on their mind, and I do believe that they're going to come.
That's great. And I think like we are happy for everyone where we see things are moving like in a certain direction. Can I ask you from, I mean, this point, you said you have commercial clients, which obviously help you to bridge also the time right now, which I think everyone realized that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You need to somehow like have like at least different options open. But is there something that you say, you know what, you as a photographer, this is something as a dream or as a goal that you have that you want to like achieve, or something maybe a complete different direction, or like a different field? Is there something that you say, okay, where, like, not where do I see myself in 5 years because everyone got it wrong 5 years ago, but like, sort of like, if you have a dream or if you have a wish, like what is it that you really want, which is like on your like to-do list, where you say, if I had the chance, I would really want to do that?
Well, I would love to have a events venue, in the middle of wilderness in the garden route. That is something that I've always wanted to have, and have peripheral businesses with that, as well as production capacity in the Southern Cape. I wouldn't mind having being able for film and industry to come and work down in that area and stimulate some business down there, because it is a wonderful area to be in. And of course, we have the Karoo and the mountains and the forest and the sun and the sea. So I know in terms for commercials as well as still and film, that's needed. So that is something that I've always wanted to aim towards, and get more behind video and film, outside than just photography. So that's a goal of mine to come, and hopefully I can achieve that with the help of you two ladies down in the garden route. But my heart belongs down there, so it's definitely something that I would like to set up in that area, and hopefully it grows.
Okay,
we always say the garden route is a little bit a sleeping beauty, so it is a bit laid back for a lot of people, but this is also something, it's not always like negative, it's also something that one can enjoy, because the hustle and bustle is a bit like outside, and you can come back and you see things go slower. Sometimes it turns out too slow, but I mean, like, flip side of the coin. But anyway, a lot of people ask, like, why we are not going to the big cities. I personally feel very much comfortable here because of the peace, of the slower like move, and the peace that we have to work here.
Because
Well,
our
I mean,
life is very busy, so that it just like brings the environment brings us down. And I mean, like, the environment is beautiful. Like, this is what it is.
I found with people coming to the garden route that they actually want that vibe, they want that experience, they want that feeling. They want to be able to wake up on a cliff overlooking the Knysna Head. They want to be able to go for beach walks, which are miles and miles and long, and you can be by yourself, and you can be safe. There's a George Airport that you can reach from any of the four corners in South Africa relatively easy and relatively cheaply. People are kind of skewing away from the stereotypical weddings and the wedding that kind of everyone has, the westernized idea, and they are looking for a bit more of a relaxed wedding where their guests have an experience on their stay as well as on their special day. And Wilderness and George and Knysna and Plet and all those places along the coastline there are so many places there that guests can really go and wine and relax. And one thing that I can always say is that the people from the Eastern Cape and the Southern Cape are something of a different breed. They're always very relaxed and laid back and very friendly. And to me, that's the most important thing. Where sometimes in the bigger cities, people are extremely busy and they don't really have the time to connect with their clientele, or even sometimes the bridal party, which is understandable in some cases. But for me, the attraction is that energy and the vibe of being in that place, and of course having the beauty that we have down there, which is you don't really get anywhere else in the world without paying a pretty dollar for it.
And when it comes again to like the value of the money, I could really say, in particular also for people from overseas, we do have in the garden route amazing venues. We have also like wine farms in a different way than in the winelands. But if you look for beaches or for the mountains, for wine estates, for the Karoo, for forest, you have it all, and for much more value than in the well-known areas. Let me say like that. 100%. I don't want to blame anyone like in the country. But I think that it also needs a type of a promotion for the area, and I think that is what I feel like the tourism boards also in the area, they should take up weddings. And we have seen just right now in this time, not even the wedding industry is known as an industry to our own government. I mean, like this is something that sometimes they they didn't even realize we are an industry. And I think we have to make more effort, all of us together, to get to our tourism, like in once on the biggest tourism exhibition in Berlin a couple of years ago. And I was looking for possibilities for people getting married in South Africa because I wanted to connect to them. There was
Yeah.
one possibility on a game farm. She said, yeah, we also do weddings. Like there was
Yeah.
nobody taking this whole industry up on one of the biggest tourism events in Europe, I can say.
I think it takes two sides, you know, like the first thing, obviously, we want to attract, which means we need to have like the facilities and the providers available, but then also we need to shout louder. I think this is like everyone of us, you know, like we need to really, as I say, invite people with open arms and show them like this is us, we are here, we can provide that. And I think that would help also make like decisions from people that are maybe indecisive or do not really know like what South Africa generally has to offer, and it has to offer so much.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. 100. It's not. I don't think that the people want to go down there. Don't want to go down there. So I just think there is no information for them to actually know. I mean, Cape Town itself is a world-class destination for its own reasons, and we can't deny that. And they've got beautiful, absolutely stunning locations that will take on the world's best. But there hasn't been any marketing done, regarding the Garden Route and even the Eastern Cape in some instances, or even the Wild Coast. And there are some absolutely stunning locations that are now actually catching a wake up in terms of, this is this is a valuable market that can grow, and there is a need for it. But we just need to get our marketing right, and we need to get our name out there, and we need to put ourselves on the national as well as international platform for people to actually take a look at us. And while I've been going there through the years, is that they have been slow to catch up on the marketing, and it's now starting to pick up, and which is been fantastic, because that's given me some work to do, some content creation for these places. But this, hands down, it just needs to be better communicated and pushed out there, because once people actually realize what does exist down there, I think Cape Town will have a very strong run for its money in terms of beauty. And we have the vineyards in the Southern Cape. We've got the Karoo, and we've got the farmlands. We've got the forests and the seas. We've got everything that a bride could possibly want, and what feeling and style she'd want. So it's and of course, I said the transport getting there is easy and accessible. So there is no barrier for it to be successful. And I'm actually looking forward to it growing, and hopefully I'll be a strong part of that.
Yeah, no, you are so true. Sometimes we realize when we are talking to couples, and we ask them, obviously, when they say like they want to go into winelands or and then we say, are you also open for other areas? And they say, but where? Like, I mean, this is something like, okay, like South Africa, this is Cape Town and the winelands, like in terms of weddings, and then there's only empty fields, like
park, maybe like
or maybe something like that. And then a lot of people are very much surprised, like what the country still has to offer, and not only the Garden Route, I also KwaZulu-Natal and a lot of other, like as I say, Eastern Cape. A lot of other areas, and I think like while people maybe wait in the queue for a venue in the Rhinelands or in Cape Town, they can have open space somewhere else, just to be a little bit more open, and particularly now when it comes to more intimate weddings. I think other areas like the Rhinelands and Cape Town, they are very much also specified on big weddings. So they might actually even have now a little bit of bigger problem, because to make more intimate spaces available for people in a huge area. But here in particular, where we have venues, they perfectly fit between 30 to 60 or 70, 80 people. That is actually like ideal, I would say.
Yeah, you know, the one thing I must say, I give it to the city of Cape Town and the tourism industry in this area. They've done a very good job in marketing their places, and the individual venues in and around Cape Town, of course, have been in it for a while. So their marketing team and their marketing employer and their strategy is extremely strong. So you know, that lands up in front of prospective brides' faces quite easily when they're looking for and searching stuff. That, as I said again, doesn't exist quite as freely as it does for Cape Town, as it does in the garden route. But you know, it's something that we have to try our best to try and create, because it's down there, and hopefully it gets that, you know, hopefully it gets a message across, because there are some. I can speak for it for days, and it's something that I push now, and it's something that I've been in talks with the George Tourism Board in George. So hopefully we'll be doing something along those lines and trying to push our wedding industry and our wedding suppliers, and most importantly, pushing the beauty of the Karoo and Ochiniquas and the Mossel Bay and the wilderness and the Titicaca, Knysna Heads, Knysna Lagoon, the lakes areas. We've got it all. It just needs to be showcased. It needs to be showcased properly, and we need to put it out there. And once it's the marketing ploy and the marketing machine works as well as it does in the Western Cape, it's definitely going to pick up without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, and if you need our help talking to the officials, like, just give us a call.
Now you know I will. You always know I will. Without a doubt.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit, like when you look back into your, in particular in the history of your wedding photography, is there something that you remember very specifically, like maybe a location or a couple that you share a very specific like bond with, or because like in every like in all of our lives there is somebody and something that we have a very strong connection. And I remember a wedding that we had, and this was, the bride was a very, very vibrant bride, and she had such a unique approach to her wedding, and we created a real strong bond to her. So she will always be, and I mean, I don't say her name, but she will always be a very special person to us as a bride.
Yeah.
Is there something like that as a photographer you also have, or is this rather not given?
No, we know definitely have. Yeah, the weddings differ. So you know, the venue might be the same, what we shoot at sometimes, or so forth. But you know, all the characters we work with have totally been so different. You know, a human being is unique in themselves and their personality, and you know, they react and to the action that's happening around them, and the family around them, and you know, so it's never that one particular wedding sticks out for me. I have so many fantastic memories through the years, and venues and people that I've worked with, that it sticks out uniquely, because I can honestly say I've been thankful for it. I've really had some fantastic clients and some beautiful people that I've worked with, and I'm very thankful for that. So there's not one specific wedding that stands out the rest. I've shot at some beautiful locations that totally take my mind away. And I've got some lovely shots about all that stuff, but there hasn't been one in particular that's really stood out, because I really have been blessed with some lovely people and some absolutely beautiful venues. And it just, every time I arrive at a new wedding, there's something new to see and someone new to experience. And there's always a new adventure happening around the corner, and there's always going to be a laugh. There's always going to be a cry. There's always going to be a, you know, so it's just always new, and that's what I look forward to. It's not really what I remember, what I look forward to, because each one's a new adventure. And
that's actually wonderful to hear. And I mean, like, where can people reach out to you? Like, tell us, like, or tell people like how they can contact you.
So they can take a look at my Instagram site, which is at Div Maritz Photography, of course, and they can get hold of me through that. There's got my contact platform. If they would like to get hold of me via email, it's info@divmaritzphoto.com. They can just pop me a mail. If they want to, they can just grab my number, which is on my Instagram profile or my website. They can just type in Div Maritz, and I've got various platforms that they can give me a shout. They can drop me an email. Even if they want to give me a WhatsApp call or call, they're more than welcome to. I'm always open to chatting to them and getting to know them and trying to speak to them and give them as much information about the day as possible, because a lot of the bridal couples and people don't quite know what questions to ask the videographers or photographers, so they kind of feel intimidated, and I try my best for them to feel that they're comfortable and they should be able to ask and request and inquire about anything and everything they can about the day. That's very important. They mustn't be afraid to ask and think that there's either a black or a white way. We're more than happy to help, and we're more than happy to structure our packages, and we're more than happy to point them in the right direction. And sometimes I've even had couples where I might not be the best fit, but I can definitely find them a better fit. So at the end of the day, it's all about looking after them, making sure that they've got the best customer experience, and that they feel relaxed when they're approaching something. It's a big day. They're going to spend a lot of money. So they need to feel secure, and they need to feel that they're dealing with a professional, and one that is kind and understanding.
When do you have your next wedding, Div, to shoot?
So the next one was meant to have happened, 2 weekends from now, and that was going to kick off the season for me. But at the moment, most of them have been moved to the end of the year. My next wedding, as it stands right now, is the middle of October, and then the end of October. So thankfully, I've still got a couple of South African brides that are still having their weddings and aren't fussed really much about the numbers. That have really got hold of me and cut the numbers, which is fine, and they're happy, so I'm happy. It's the majority of our foreign clientele that has moved things on until next year, but that's fine. And then we're getting, now that level 2's opened and the economy is starting to open up again, we're starting to see inquiries come through again now for the end of the year. The ones that still want to sneak in a wedding before the year end.
Yeah, that's great. And I think there is some space in your calendar, so everyone who's interested in a photographer, have a look also at Div Maritz. That's just what we can also recommend. And yeah, thank you very much for your time and for letting us look a little bit behind the person that you are, because that's, as I said before, I think it's one of the most important assets that people like you and creatives have, is to sell yourself before your or not before, with your craft. I think that is that's you sell, you buy into a person, because the trust that you have to also gain is immense from maybe just a meeting. And I think right now it's even more difficult to just meet people maybe on Zoom or on Facebook calls and all the rest. And so it's just an amazing moment to see that things are going in the right direction for us all. So thank you so much for your time. Stay safe. I think that's the most important bit right now, because without that, nothing else will work out.
Well, thanks so much, ladies. Thanks for having me on your talk show and your live chat. It's been fantastic. And please feel free to give me a shout out there if anyone's interested. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And we can only remain positive, because being negative is not going to get us anywhere. And we have a lot to look forward to.
Always half full, Div. Always.
Yeah, 100%. And if you had the energy surrounding you and you put that out to the universe, I truly do believe that it comes back your way. No matter how hard and difficult things may be at times, things are looking up and it will improve. And before we know it, we're going to be having a good time again in and around shooting weddings and making people smile and happy again. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's absolutely right. And there's nothing to add. This is such a beautiful last word.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We love you, Div, and we can't wait to work with you again. Thank
Likewise.
You so much.
Thanks, ladies. Appreciate it very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.